My name is Kevin Bootler. I'm the manager of the clean energy team at the Halifax Regional Municipality, and it is splendid to see you all here today. Great to welcome you to the AEECE Energy East Conference, 3rd annual. I had the pleasure last year going to Moncton and sharing some more in-depth on Halifax, but for the opening remarks here, I'm going to talk briefly about our climate action plan. So for folks that may not know, which you all should because it's been around for at least 3 years, we have Halifax, our climate action plan, which is one of the most ambitious in Canada. It was approved by Council in 2020, and the Act is Acting on Climate Together. Really great acronym. Because that really is what it is. It is the need for us as professionals, the municipality, and the community to really act on climate. To develop the climate action plan, we hired Sustainable Solutions Group, and what they did is they essentially threw everything at the wall and was like, hey, we need to align with the IPCC recommendation of 1.5 degrees, limit global warming to 1.5 degrees. What do we need to do? So they developed this wedge diagram which shows all the areas that we need to focus on for mitigating our impact to climate. The top line is business as usual, so that's if we just gave up and we did not do anything. And then you can see there's a very aggressive, steep decline, which is really important in the next 6.5 years, where we really need to focus our efforts on these 5 key areas. So these 5 key areas: retrofitting our existing building stock, which is very old and needs some love, decarbonizing our electricity sector, decarbonizing transportation, and also looking at building net zero new construction. That's sort of what I'm going to talk about today, especially given the focus of the conference, where it is, really catalyzing and being innovative and really trying to ensure that we do everything we can in our power to reduce our impact to the built environment. So for net zero new buildings, so as we all know, the National Energy Code for Buildings came out, and the province is working on adopting that, and it's an incredible first step to reach our end goals. However, we've got unprecedented growth here in Nova Scotia and in HRM, right? So as energy engineers, we really have the ethical responsibility to ensure that anything we build today really is sustainable. It is, withstands from now until the end of its life, and it really reduces the burden on future generations, right? So we really need to think and be innovative to ensure that all the buildings built today are built to a very, very high, close to net zero standard. And that's why in Halifax we do have a target of net zero new construction by 2030, which is really ambitious, right? But again, as I said, to meet that 1.5 degree pathway, we had to throw essentially everything at the wall to try and keep on track with the IPCC recommendations. Sustainable Solutions Group, when they did the analysis for Halifax, they did determine that, hey, if we were aggressive and we met that target of 2030 net zero new construction, we could actually avoid 6 megatons of potential emissions, right, which is quite significant. There's also several trade-offs and benefits to that. So there's significant energy savings, carbon price savings, which are ever increasing, and we also reduce burden on decarbonizing other sectors, and I'll get into that in a moment. If we build to high standards today, there's significant benefit over the next 25 years. So according to the analysis by SSG again, the premium to build beyond the current code, which is not the 2020 code, but the current code that we see today, looking at $560 million. However, this is more than offset by the savings in energy and the carbon price savings, which is about $670 million for a net benefit of $110 million. That is, including the premium that we're seeing with new construction today. Also, if we take a look at the social cost of carbon, which a lot of entities are now using to really show the cost-benefit analysis of different environmental policies, SSG has run an analysis that the impact of avoided damages from climate change to high sustainable buildings is about $2 billion. But the elephant in the room is affordability and energy poverty. So one of the key criticisms of building to higher standards beyond that of the building code really is that these buildings are unaffordable, right? But when you think about affordability, we need to consider capital costs, but also operating costs. So the Passive House organization in Canada, they've done some analysis and they've determined that hey, you can really build to very high performing standards, and the premiums go 0 to 10%. We've seen that that's going down, and that will continue to go down as we continue to build to these higher standards. And it's eventually we're hoping that it will reach cost parity. We also need to consider that to meet our ambitious climate targets, we do need to retrofit. 2050 is right there. Any building we build today is going to have to see significant retrofits if they're not built to the highest standard possible. Analysis has shown that future retrofits can be 3 to 5 times more than the incremental cost premium. They're also very disruptive, and we hear lots about evictions. People are going to be losing potential rent. People are going to lose homes during these renovations. There's also, as we all know, significant cost savings. So if we build buildings to high standards today, the utility costs for tenants, the utility costs for building owners, it's well known. You're going to hedge yourself against volatile costs in the future, and they'll also help out with energy poverty. So we worked with the Cost of Canadian Urban Sustainability Practitioners in 2019, and in Halifax alone, HRM, 45,000 households are actually experiencing energy poverty, which means that a high amount of their after-tax income is actually put towards utilities. So if we build houses and buildings now to a high standard, we can actually help reduce that energy poverty. And we're also seeing across Canada, a lot of affordable housing providers are actually looking at the Passive House standards for that sole reason, so that their tenants can see reduced, known, and predictable energy costs throughout the operation of that building. There's also co-benefits of reducing the burden on other sectors. So in Nova Scotia and across Canada, there's some very ambitious targets to decarbonize our electricity system. As we decarbonize our buildings and we decarbonize transportation, we're going to electrify, right? We're getting rid of fuel oil, we're getting rid of gas engines, and we're going to fully electric. That's going to increase the electricity demand, which means that decarbonizing the electricity sector is going to be that much more expensive. So if we build buildings now to a high standard and reduce that energy demand, then we can effectively reduce the cost of decarbonizing the electricity sector. And as we all know, Nova Scotia Power passes all the costs on to us, so we can reduce the utility costs for ratepayers as well. So what is HRM doing? So the province, they had public consultation on the 2020 Energy Code for Buildings, and the municipality did submit a request asking that the province provide municipalities in HRM the option to mandate higher tiers of the code. This would be consistent with the BC step code. So in BC, the provincial government has a minimum tier that all municipalities must adhere to. But if the municipality is able to do so, they have the capacity, they have the expertise, they can actually mandate a higher tier of the code. We believe that this would be very beneficial to the municipality, but also to the province, as the municipality is half the province. By letting municipalities go even a step further, it would help reduce the emissions and meet the targets that the provincial government has, but also it would show Atlantic Canada as a leader in green building, and bring people from other sectors, from other provinces into our province, and really strengthen the sector here. If we are awarded the authority to mandate higher tiers, that wouldn't mean we would go immediately to tier 4, but it would give our building officials, our planners, our development community the opportunity to plan for and prepare for that transition that is needed. A couple of weeks ago, we officially launched the Building to Zero Exchange, which the municipality is a founding partner of. I know a lot of you folks were there. The Building Consumer Exchange, the core mission is to build awareness and best practices to catalyze innovation and to accelerate sustainable building practices within the province. The need for such an exchange came through several stakeholder groups with industry. And it has 3 key themes. So the first is building capacity, so identifying industry needs and gaps in training and research that will help support and grow the sector as we transition to high sustainable buildings. Enabling conditions, so engaging industry in the acceleration of policies and codes that advance the net zero transition, and then accelerating action, so collaborating to test ideas and projects that can be scaled for impact. So we just launched, it's in its infancy, but it is open to everyone in the room. So we encourage you all to check it out. Justin will have my information, but if you Google it, you can find it. And there's no membership dues. So we've developed it currently as no membership dues. We wanted, all individuals to be able to participate, but to be part of it, we do request that you offer some in-kind contribution. Where it be, sharing case studies, demonstration projects, helping support research, and so forth. When it comes to our municipal operations, we are working with many of you folks in the room to achieve our target of net zero municipal operations by 2030. So that includes our existing and our future building stock. So the municipality, I think we have about 350 or so buildings, looking at Amanda Christensen. They span from community centers to libraries to fire stations and so forth. So it is our responsibility to lead by example and make sure that our building stock is built to the highest standard possible. And to do that, in 2021, we did pass an administrative order which mandates that all new municipal construction is built to a net zero standard, which we define as 100% of all electricity or energy use within the building comes from on-site or off-site generation. If that's not possible due to site limitations or the capital cost actually outweighs the savings from operating and maintenance, then we are requiring a net zero ready standard, which we've defined as a 50% energy reduction over the 2017 energy code for buildings. Amanda Christensen and Dave Bichette, who's not here yet, but I'm sure he will be, have been instrumental in in starting this and moving this along. So in all of our tenders that we do send out to you folks, the energy engineers in the room, we do make it mandatory that an energy model is completed right at the start to really show us and give the business case to council and to the public that, hey, putting that cost premium up just a little bit has, long-term benefits when it comes to life cycle costs. Now time to stick the landing. We've got a crap ton of work to do, right? Everyone here is doing incredible, amazing work, but I encourage you to all, push it to the next level, take it to the next level. Again, as engineers and professionals, we have that ethical responsibility to, encourage our clients and educate our clients to build to a higher standard, really show them the benefit that it has for the community, for the individuals within the municipality. And there's going to be a lot of great, fantastic presentations today that are really going to dig into that. And I encourage you to listen, to innovate, and to really have a grand time today. Thank you very much.
Is there any questions?
We're 12 minutes over, so any questions?
This means we won't get any bio breaks.
Yeah, there you go.
Your fault, Kevin.
Ah, shame.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for your presentation. My name is Natasha. I'm here at the Building Decarbonization Alliance, and it's great to see a lot of the initiatives that you have started. I'd like to chat some more with you after, but I'd like to ask specifically if you have any initiatives towards building decarbonization in terms of the electrification of space heating, space cooling, water heating. I'm not from Halifax, but I was just wondering what percentage of space heating, space cooling, and water heating is electrified now? Is there initiatives to install more high efficiency heating, like heat pumps, that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't have the stats in front of me. What are we, about 50% oil?
Yeah, I don't have the stats either. But that's
yeah, right. I think we're about 50% oil in the federal and provincial governments are both, working really hard with incentives to fuel switch, right? To move from fossil fuel heating with, oil heating, to heat pumps, to electrify heating and cooling. Within our own building stock, we do make it mandatory with our tenders to say, we have to look at electrification right at the start. We're also working on a deep energy retrofit pilot program, which is prioritizing fuel switching as well. So what we're doing for the community is we're offering an energy navigator. So it's essentially a personal project manager that's going to guide people from the home energy audit through to the completion of the retrofits. And the focus on that is, getting that oil tank up and putting and electrifying